Woomy. Did you know Splatoon 3 is out? Splatoon 3 has been out for quite a while, actually. Not only is it the latest update in the squid shooting franchise, but it also sold over 2 million units in Japan in its first week. People were hyped for this game. I was hyped for this game. As someone who's played Splatoon back in the good old back in the Wii U days, I got it on my Switch as soon as I could. I even got the OLED one. Ignore the fact I'm playing Xenoblade right now. Splatoon 3 is turning into the best in the series, with all the modes and added content. Lots of little tweaks that make the game the best way to play the franchise than ever before. And I believe it will become, if it isn't already, the best in the series. Why do I think this? Well, here are my random thoughts. If you don't know what Splatoon is, it is a third-person shooter where the goal is less about splatting your opponent with ink, but more about literally covering your ground in turf wars, painting the stage with your team's ink. The teams, usually 4v4, try to see who can cover the area before time runs out. If you played Splatoon at all, this will all be familiar to you, as the formula of turf wars really hasn't changed much. There are little details and gameplay mechanics that have been tweaked, but for the casual player, it is really hard to notice, unless you are competitive or used to Splatoon 2. I do notice things feel a lot tighter and more precise when I control the screen. And yes, I use motion controls. Usually, I hate motion controls, but I feel Splatoon 3 does them so incredibly well that I can't aim as accurately as I could without them. Everything feels right, just starting the game, aiming it just right, being able to control my aim with the gyro, and just being able to, splat! It feels good. And another thing that feels right at home is the weapons. A lot of weapons return from previous games. Splattershot, Roller, Slosher, Charger, while you have some new weapons to try, like the Splatana, a katana that splats, or the Stringer, the equivalent of archery in Splatoon. Each weapon has its own unique playstyle, and all have their strengths and weaknesses in range and power. The Stringer and Katana are very fun, but I struggle playing with them as I have no idea what I'm doing or how to control them. But again, they are pretty new, and it will take a lot of practice to get used to them. My main weapons are the shooters, as I'm usually more comfortable rocking out the N-Zapper or the Splattershot Pro, along with occasionally rocking out the dualies every once in a while. Dualies? Am I saying that right? I probably am. Dualies? The beauty of the Splatoon series is that while you can have a main weapon, you are encouraged to try a different variety of weapons for different stages. Sure, you may not win every single time, but with the amount of weapons currently available and future weapons coming in free DLC, there are multiple choices for everyone. Not to mention sub-weapons and special little perks that you can add to your gear in order to, change your speed, change how you move in the ink, change how long it takes for you to, respawn once you get splatted. There's a lot of different customization options you can add. And once you try a turf war or two and get to level 10, or you have Splatoon 2 and transfer your data, you'll be able to access ranked battles, or anarchy battles as they're called, to give you that extra challenge with extra modes. Participate in modes such as Splat Zone, Tower Control, and Clam Blitz to basically challenge yourself with certain conditions in order to succeed. For example, with Splat Zone, you have to control a certain area of the map for a certain amount of time. If you succeed, you win. If you don't, you fail. With Tower Control, you basically move a tower by controlling it with your Splat Ink and basically guiding it to the other team section. Whoever guides it there first wins. While I do admit I've been playing a lot more of Turf War than Anarchy battles, they are still a great challenge for seasoned players. Some matches can get tense as you try to gain control over a specific area of the map in Splat Zone, or riding your tower to protect it from getting into the other team's clutches. And while I may be a terrible ranked player, I'm just B- at the moment, I'm not even the best Turf War player, I'm only level 10 here, I'm still having fun. I keep wanting to go one more match and wind up playing for hours upon hours with these games, and the time just flies by as I play. If the time comes when you're kinda done with Turf Wars or Anarchy battles, there are 2 other modes you can play, the Story Mode and Salmon Run. Let's talk about the Story Mode first. I've been streaming the Story Mode on my Twitch channel. Follow, please. And while I still haven't finished it yet at the time of this video, I played enough of it to offer some of my thoughts on the campaign. At first, it does look like a story from previous games, going through levels, finding Zapfish, etc, etc. But it pulls a fast one on you, and you wind up in the land of Alterna, a bubble located underneath the city of Splatsville. That's where this game takes place, by the way, I forgot to mention that. Where you enter these mini-levels, completing certain challenges with certain conditions, similar to Octo Expansion DLC in Splatoon 2. While Octo Expansion was a lot more challenging and even made me rage a couple times, this one seemed more balanced with the difficulty. I felt like I could actually accomplish these ones in like a few tries compared to some where it took me hours upon hours in Octo Expansion. The story itself even has some twists and turns, and things that will surprise you, so it's more than just a tutorial for the main game. It's a great single-player campaign, and I cannot wait to play the rest of it. And then there's Salmon Run. I didn't like Salmon Run that much when I played it in Splatoon 2, but there's just something about this version in Splatoon 3. I don't know what it is, but there's something about it that I really enjoy this time. Salmon Run is the co-op mode where you fight murderous salmon in order to collect their eggs for a profit for the corporation Grizzco. If you played the last game, it is a lot similar, yes. You fight specific boss salmon and collect their eggs, eat your quota, and you move on to the next round until you win. Miss your quota before the time runs out or all your team gets knocked out, game over. You lose money. And Mr. Grizz is unhappy. Like the last game, it is fun to work together to splat some salmon and take on the bosses. The two main new additions are the ability to throw eggs at a distance and the giant king salmonoids that can appear at the end of some matches. Absolutely terrifying. Holy crap. I was legit scared. Will be in my nightmares. But still fun. It can get a little chaotic depending on your rank, as it feels like I am getting overwhelmed with all the boss salmonoids at points, them surrounding me in this little area and just constantly getting splatted and splatted, hoping my teammates will save me. But I think the added chaos, even if you fail, just makes me want to play even more. I always want to try and increase my rank, get that promotion in the game, try and see if I can level up a little bit more, just to see if I can get a few items for the catalog. Oh yeah, the catalog, and the shops for that matter. You have the shops from the previous game selling weapons, shoes, shirts, and headgear, but there's also a general store run by Harmony. Woo, is so adorable! She's so adorable! She runs the general store where you can buy things for your locker. Oh yeah, you have a locker which you can customize and personalize to your heart's content. And splat tags are personal gamer tags for your squid during turf war and salmon runs. There's a little gacha item where you can collect items once a day if you have the cash. And the lobby. Oh my god, the lobby. In the past games, you just stared at a screen and waited for the next match. Boring. Now, here's a little training room. You can test out your weapons, splat the entire area, see your sub-weapon and your special in action, see other players, and even join them in their games. It's an improvement that should have been done a long time ago, yes, but better late than never. And I can't forget about the idols. God, these idols. Shiver, Fry, and Big Man. 3 this time, not 2, 3. They have cool designs. How they announce stages while you play the game flows super well. Look at Big Man. I love him. I love you, Big Man! Okay, so I've been praising the game like crazy. I'm obviously a fan. Is there anything I don't like about it? Well, if I'm being honest, the online connection can get a bit rough sometimes. Yeah, a lot of times I notice there's a lot of issues with the online, which is kind of crucial to an online game. If a player disconnects, instead of previous installments where you would just lose a team member and pray to God you have a chance of winning, the whole match stops this time around, and you will be sent to the lobby. I understand why they do this, as in the end, it is the more fair thing to do. But I would be lying if I said it didn't interrupt the flow of the game that Splatoon 3 is known for accomplishing. At least it doesn't count as a loss if you aren't the one who disconnects. But I know a lot of people don't have the best internet, so it can be a bit of a problem, especially if it will stop you from playing the game for a certain amount of time because of too many disconnections. But the major problem is the lack of players message that shows up when you're just waiting too long in the game. It can get really frustrating and discouraging when you're trying to get into a match and you can't play the game because the online servers are glitchy, that's a problem for a game that's mostly online. Sure, they've had a few maintenance updates since the game launched, and they are working on fixing issues, but it's still happening a lot more than it should, and it has almost made me put down the game at points. Almost. But if it continues to be a problem, it could turn a lot of people off from the game. I want people to continue to play this game for years to come. I want this game to be a super success and people to enjoy it for as long as they can with the continued updates and all. But in order to do that, they gotta fix this issue, and I really hope they do. Please. That's my main problem. And sure, the game has other issues. There's glitches, there's things that need updating. There's a little bit of problems with like some modes, but they're working on fixing that over time with maintenance updates and just updates for the game in general. I still really love this game. Can you tell? Call me a fanboy, but I am a huge fan of the series, and it is so cool to see both returning fans get back into the franchise and new fans trying their splatting shoes on for the first time. I often don't have as much time as I used to play these games, but it is taking up a decent chunk of my time, as it is for a lot of you. The game flows so perfectly to the point where you could just play the game for hours and never get bored. Not to mention with updates in the future and events like Splatfests, where you can join teams, not only adds life to the game, but revitalizes the spark that fans of Splatoon needed after it dimmed over the years. Shocker, but I'm really happy with how Splatoon 3 has turned out, and I cannot wait to play it over the years, what future Splatfests they have, and what they have in store for the future of the game. I think the game has a long life ahead of it, at least for the next 2 years. And we do have some DLC coming in the future. If it's anything like Octo Expansion, I'm curious to see how it'll turn out. What are you doing watching this video for? Go play Splatoon! But before you do, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also follow me on Twitch. I'll probably be playing this game at some point. Thank you so much, everybody, and stay fresh! That's what the kids say, right? Stay fresh.